Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawks here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Hi everybody, Russ from My Hammers 11. Hope you're safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware anytime I put new content on. As always, we'd obviously like to thank our channel sponsors on Tuck It. Check out the description below. We got Wally! Wally's World! Wally's in! How you doing? How you doing, Mr. World?
Dude, I'm doing great. You know, it's funny, this Wally name, I mean, my real name is Walt, and so my nickname is Wally, and in this country, that's just like a normal nickname.
Yeah.
But I know in UK, you know, Wally has a little special extra meaning to it. So I just feel good for all the UK audience being able to legitimately call me Wally. So
as long as it's not a Wally.
Yes. Okay.
You know, call you Wally. Yeah.
So I'll be the Wally, right? Not
the Wally. The Wally. Well, it has many different connotations. If you go to a fish and chip shop and you ask for a Wally, you get you ask for a Wally, you get a massive pickle.
Ooh, I do like pickles.
Yeah. So, it's called a Wally. So you know, like so like proper like one that's not chopped up, not sliced. Yeah, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
In a massive tub next to the pickled eggs. You get a Wally. So there we go. So not only are you,
you can ask for a Wally. You know,
it's past 9 o'clock here. It's past the watershed. It's not over there.
Right.
Anyway, how are you, my friend? How are you, buddy?
Doing great. We got a beautiful day here in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia, and the sun is shining. It's spring. All the flowers are out. The trees are flowering. It's just beautiful.
Oh, it's the weather just makes such a big difference, isn't it? I mean, it's a sunny day. It was a sunny day in Hornchurch this afternoon, and everything. The world just seems right. You know, and what obviously I used to, as you know, I used to spend a lot of time on the East Coast and stuff, and I always felt, because I go to Philadelphia quite a bit, particularly, I always found it very humid in
during the summer. Very humid. Yes, but really it's not humid yet. It's quite dry now, so we're in our dry season. And I guess that's where you developed your love of Hershey's chocolate, right?
Yes. I was going to say, I should have introduced the man who tried to get me into Hershey's. I know. Yeah, it's I never really. As I said, it's although like. I know I conceded on Milk Duds, didn't I? Because Milk Duds.
Yeah, you did say.
Yeah. So for anyone who knows what the fuck we're talking about, so Wally sent me a massive box of chocolate and various treats from America, because I don't like Hershey's chocolate. I just don't like it, and Wally's a big advocate of it. So obviously it's a Pennsylvania brand. It's a PA brand, isn't it? So
down the road.
There we go. So does it smell of chocolate?
Well,
some places.
When I say down the road, you know, relative in America, it's about an hour and a half away. So,
which is that's like a 5-minute drive for the UK. Exactly. That's what makes me laugh. You know, I remember I used to drive about all around the East Coast, and they go, "Oh yeah, where are you staying?" I was staying. Where was I staying? I think I was staying in Elizabeth or something like that at the time, in New Jersey. And they would say, "Oh, we're based in it's only just down the road." It wasn't. It was like a 2-hour journey, right there, and a 2-hour back. And it's like, I think in the space of a week, I'd done something ridiculous, like 3,000 miles. It's honestly, I just could never get my head around it. But yes, I don't like Hershey's chocolate. I said it's Ghirardelli or nothing in my household, and that's basically because it's the Ghirardelli shop in Disney Springs in Orlando. That's it.
Yeah, honestly, Ghirardelli is really good chocolate. Hershey's is not so good, but when you grow up on Hershey's, eating Hershey's, you know, forever. As a kid, now I still have that, I still enjoy it because it's like bringing me back to being a kid.
Of course you do. That's half the fun. I mean, it's like in the UK, and obviously it's nothing to do with West Ham, but I don't care. In the UK, it's like my daughter's, she's 8, so when she was younger, and she'd have in the UK we had like Milky Bars and stuff like that, which was all sort of nostalgic chocolate. You go, I forgot, I love these. These were like this is my youth, and I used to have these when I was a kid, and now she's having them, and oh well, memories. But obviously you're well, the family are well, which is good. Have you coped in this sort of weird world we live in now, in terms of the pandemic and stuff?
We've been doing okay because my wife is from New Orleans originally, so for example, this winter we escaped down south to New Orleans and Florida, where things are much better.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's been pretty good around here. A little bit, a little bit more closed up. But in the U.S., it's like every state is different.
Yeah.
Depending on how crowded they are, how how many big cities they might have, or how far south. Down farther south, I think it does better because there's sunlight and things like that.
Warmer climate.
Yeah, warmer. So
yeah, I get that. And it's also like, I mean, it's the same. I was talking to a guy from Australia the other day, and they're the same in this sort of Western Australia, New South Wales and stuff. They have their own jurisdictions and stuff. So it was like, where you might have state borders, they have the same thing where it's like, so there's Western Australia will be shut down and New South Wales will be open and
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen here. It's all or nothing. All or nothing here. So
you guys are all on the same page, yeah. So
yeah, kind of. But the pubs are open as long as you want to sit outside.
That's awesome.
As long as you sit outside in a group of 6, you're okay. But
there we go.
Yeah, but West Ham are keeping us entertained, aren't they?
They are.
Really?
They've been doing a great, and you too, Russ. I mean, your channel has been amazing.
Thank you.
With your lunchtime shows and your cooking and your and of course the My Hammers 11, the
of course,
flagship of your network.
The flagship of my network, the Hammer, the My Hammers 11 network. I like that. I like that. That's the next step. That's the next step. Get on Roku and Amazon Fire Stick. We'll get on all them. No, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. No, it is. It's I mean, the fact is, West Ham are keeping us going, and YouTube in general. I mean, obviously, the guys, the stuff you do with the American Hammers Network. Some great stuff. It's ironic that most of the people bloody on there are English, but apart from that, it's no, it's great. I love it. I love it. It's a really good bunch, isn't it? And it seems. Fun. And it seems also, this the whole. I know it's horrible what's gone on, but if anything, it's in terms of the pandemic. But in terms of the YouTube from West Ham perspective, we know each other now. We didn't know each other a year ago, and people like that, and it's great. It's lovely. I mean, I get bloody Peach messages me every other day, like 20-minute voicemail message, at least 3 a day rather. But I love it.
Yeah, Peach is just up the road from me, north of a little bit, in Toronto. Yeah,
in Toronto, a little bit. Yeah, that's a little bit further up. Yeah, that's a little bit. I think is he Calgary? Is he? I don't know where he is.
No, he's in Toronto. Yeah.
Oh, is he? He'll tell me. Yeah, he'll tell me.
That's just up the road, but it's probably like 10 hours up the road.
Yeah. A Sunday drive.
Yeah.
A Sunday drive for the Wally household. A little stroll round. As you said, West Ham are doing well, which is great.
Yes.
And hopefully where we've been in this sort of weird status for the last sort of 48 hours where we don't know what the hell's going on.
Yes.
At least we sort of know now that it's sort of all back to normal, kinda. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Saturday's gonna be a huge game now. Huge game for us.
Yes, we need to do some punishment.
Yes.
The revolters, or one of the revolters,
yeah. Although that's the thing. I think as we were just saying just before we started, obviously they're one of the first to concede, so to speak, but they still did it in the first place. And I wonder if we'll wear those T-shirts. Everyone's been wearing those T-shirts, which says "Earn It." Football's for fans, and Brighton wore them today in the warm up with Chelsea, and Leeds wore them.
Yeah, I saw Leeds wearing
Liverpool.
them.
So, what if we get them? What if they distribute them?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe I'll nick one. Try and get one.
Right.
Try and get one. Be good. But no, it's a massive game on Saturday, and so it's in our hands. All we got to do is win the next 6 games, Wally, and we're in the Champions League.
Yeah, no problem. Cup final, 6 more cup finals.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait, and it'll be great, and it'll be really, really great because, as I said, it's we've suffered recently, for a while, 40 odd years, and so it'd be nice to do just my whole lifetime.
Right.
So it'd be nice to do some damage, and I think, as I say before, I think it's ironic that West Ham potentially getting into the Champions League has broken European football. If they've started this whole taking their ball and run away, but hopefully we've got the ball back now, so it's all good. But no, I love it, man. So Wally, we know you're in PA and stuff like that. We see the shirt. We obviously see the Frederick's shirt, of course, the Frederick's shirt. And if he's not in that Hammers 11, I'll be very disappointed. I'll tell you, if he's not, I'll tell you what it isn't, mate. I'll tell you, no spoilers.
World will be turned upside down, just like the Super League.
It'll just be like
Fredericks
twice in 2 days.
Yeah.
If Wally didn't put Ryan Fredericks in there. Why West Ham, Wally? Why is it your club, my man?
Well, okay, so this goes back a long way, even before you were born, Russ. So we're going back.
So 21 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for me, it was 1970. So my family, I was born in Detroit, Michigan, and my dad worked for automotive companies. So he got transferred first to Switzerland. So we went to Switzerland for a year, and we were in Geneva, and then he got transferred to London. So I was in 5th grade. I went to the American School of London, which I believe is still there in St. John's Wood.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and so for what is 5th grade here is probably, well, I was like 10.
Yeah, so that would have been last year at junior school. So we would call that year. And my daughter's in that. In that school. Probably year 6 in the UK. Again, it would change in the 70s, but it's in year 6 now for the UK. Yeah.
So I was in this American school, and new kid, and all the other kids come up to you and they're like, "What team? What football team are you? What team are you?" And I'm like, I didn't know anything. So they said, "Well, there's like Arsenal and Liverpool, and they were going through like Man United, Chelsea, maybe, or even Spurs." And I'm like, "Well, what else is there?" And they said, "Well, there's this little team from West or East London rather." And I'm like, what are they? They're called West Ham. And I'm like, okay. And they said, well, the thing they did 4 years ago, but they basically won the World Cup, with Bobby Moore and etc. So I said, that sounds good to me. So from that point on, I would always say, West Ham whenever somebody asked me who I supported. So, not that I ever went to a game or anything.
Yeah, sure.
It was just, okay, I'm West Ham, Walt's the West Ham guy. So then after a year, and we moved to Coventry, because that's where I guess still a lot of the car factories are.
In the Midlands,
Yeah, in the Midlands. So we were in Coventry, and I went to a British school at that point. And so I'm like a little Yank kid in a British school.
Yeah.
and everybody's talking about, Coventry City was basically the team that everybody supported. So I had to say, well, I support West Ham. So, they gave me, so they took the piss out of me for that. And they also would sing Bubbles at me. Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize Bubbles.
No,
I didn't know what it meant, but they would sing, and like West Ham, they fade and die, or West Ham fades and die. And I'm like, I thought they were just teasing me and stuff. Well, I find out later that is the song for West Ham. So I've always, whenever it's come up in conversation, I've said West Ham. And fast forward until around 2013-14, when I started, we have a dog, and the dog gets up early in the morning, and you're looking for something to watch or whatever. Yeah. So I started to turn on, Premier League was on, I think, the Fox network at that point.
Yeah.
So I started watching, Premier League. And then I remembered, I support West Ham. And not that they had all the West Ham games, but whenever they had one, I was always watch. And then I found the forum, the KUMB forum.
Yeah.
And even if I couldn't watch a game, I would read through. They would have a thread on, like the live thread, and just the calamity going on in that thread when, somebody did something bad or something really good. It was fun to follow along the threads.
Brilliant.
And then once the Premier League went to NBC, and they show every single game, every single match, then I could watch all the West Ham matches. So that's when I really started following more closely. And then I was watching, say, the West Ham Fan TV folks, and maybe like the Hammers chat on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then suddenly one time it got suggested to me, this American Hammers TV channel. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I started watching that, and I would participate in the chat there, the live chat. And it was Tim and Lee, would do a show, and they would invite maybe somebody on every week. And that show was really fun because Tim was trying to develop like different communities
Sure. Yeah.
across the U.S. and also he would bring in people to tell their story, and generally U.S. People who and their story about why they follow West Ham is really interesting. Because it's usually not well, my grandfather, my dad, we were all born in East London or whatever. So I remember one guy said he was really hungover, and he woke up and his roommate had the TV on and there was a match going on, and he said, "Okay, whichever team wins, I'm going to support that team."
Brilliant.
And it was West Ham that won the match. So there's some great stories about
But they're all there's obviously we've had over 300 interviews like these Hammers, Mimers, them interviews, and every story is slightly different. There can be sort of, if you put it into a Venn diagram, there'd be some in certain categories, but quite a lot of them, though, that sort of weird chance, like that. Or we had the golf. I remember the golfer Paul McGinley. We had him on, the Ryder Cup captain, and he's obviously lives in Ireland. Well, he was born in Ireland at the time, and his story was the 19. It was a 75 FA Cup final, and he was in this there, and he lives in a small Irish town. You can just imagine like a provincial little town, and there and Mrs. O'Donnell, sorry, I couldn't think of an Irish name there, but she had the first colour TV in the village, so they all came to watch it, and obviously they watched the FA Cup final. He didn't have an allegiance, and obviously Powell, these two teams turn up, but Fulham were in black and white. And he's used to watching black and white, but this other team were in claret and blue, and so he supported them. And he's been a fan for the last 50 years. And there's so many of them stories where people have just looked up, who do you support? That one, and it was West Ham. It could have been, and it's like, and then our season ticket goals 50 years and stuff like that. Obviously, we've had a lot of the American Hammers guys on themselves, like Justin from Chicago, and he just picked us because we'd won fuck all, like the Cubs had done it before they won the World Series recently. So. I love it. It's so much. It's so interesting, but it doesn't know where they come from in terms of this weird, web. To support this weird little funny team in East London. It's a real community, as you said, the American Hammers Network, and obviously you get involved with the chat on, the Hammers chat and everything else, and it's brilliant. I love it. We've got such a lovely bunch of fans. We really do, and they all help each other out, and they all, if someone's feeling a bit down, then. Loads of tweets and messages. I mean, Peach, for example, went missing for like a week, didn't he? No one could, and he was bless him. He was in bed. It was at death's door. Respiratory problems. So and then he's like, we tracked him down. I was having messages from people. Where's Peach? Where's Peach? Wow. I was like, oh, I don't know. Yeah. And this is a guy that we've only met virtually. Do you know what I mean? And no, I love it, man. It's brilliant. Well, as you said, once you're in.
And I have to say, through the YouTube. I found the Philadelphia, West Ham Philadelphia group, and we go to a bar down there, and so I've met like Katie. I don't know if you know Katie.
Yeah, Katie.
Mark runs that, and Tim came down from Boston one time, and John, who runs the Hammer Shot. No, not the. The one I'm part of, Friday Night Likes.
Yeah. Don't worry, I know what you're doing, Ollie. Don't worry. I know what you're up to. But no, it's great, and it's true, and it's and it's like there's weird things like I used to go to school with Adam, Adam Frankel and stuff like that, and it's weird the fact that he lives in over there and in Texas and it seems anywhere you go at West Ham in America, particularly, say you go to somewhere and you're doing like a day trip or whatever. And there's a West Ham game on, as you said, Tim and Lee, you ask them, and they'll go, "Oh yeah, that's Bob," and like from or the Fresno Irons or John at Las Vegas, or and it's amazing. It's this huge network, and it's just I was really naive to it all. I really was. I was in my sort of East End Essex bubble, thinking that's all it is. But interviewing like guys like yourselves and the Indian Hammers and Russ in Hong Kong and Angus and stuff in Australia and Neil. It's amazing.
So when I go to New Orleans, whenever there's a match, I go meet the I don't know if you know Bradley, the New Orleans Hammer. anyway, he
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
yeah, yes, great guy, super nice guy, and he has this kind of a group down there, and we go to this a bar there called Finn McCool's, and so even when I'm in New Orleans, I have people to meet up with. It's great, and we can talk West Ham. Whereas before I discovered, I was just following it, online, and I didn't know anybody. And I just have to thank Tim and Lee. They kind of brought me out of the wilderness. I felt like I was all alone. Nobody really knows what West Ham is around here.
Yeah.
So
and then just have to talk with your family. That's just
disappointing. Yeah, they don't want to hear it. Yeah,
no, it's the same as me. My wife loves this because I can just don't talk about football. I can just toddle off to the garage, and she doesn't know that. Although today she did ask me about what my thoughts were on the Super League. I was like, sit down, love. Sit down and let me tell you. So she doesn't give a shit.
That actually cracked. My wife asked me the same thing. That somehow made it, all the way into her world about the Super League. So
yeah. Well, it's because James Corden did a big thing on the Late Late Show as well about it. He did a big 10-minute monologue about it, which I was quite impressed because it's obviously he's a big hammer and stuff, and so is James Longman, who's the exec producer at the show as well. Obviously, he used to do the old Knees Up Mother Brown podcast with Chris Skull.
Yeah, I do.
And he did that, and it was just and it was trying to communicate to the Americans, non-football, and he kept on calling it football as well, which I thought was hilarious as well, not soccer. So he's like Jesus, trying to say basically how no relegation and stuff like that. That's the franchise nature of American football and NBA.
All the sports leagues here are franchise nature, no relegation, no promotion. So we really don't understand that concept. And so basically the NFL, if you have one of those franchises, it's a license to print money. It's so lucrative. And I'm sure that's what they're trying to do over in Europe. And
definitely that's what they try to do. And the main protagonists were American based businessmen.
Right. Yep.
As you said, like John Henry, you had the Glaziers, you had what's his face, I can't remember, from Arsenal as well. So Gronkia, you had them all. Yeah. So it wasn't surprising that it was happening at all. And I mean, Juventus, was it? Yeah, it's Ivan Gas. I think he's at Juventus or Inter Milan or something like that. Yeah. So it was spearheaded by American.
Oh yeah,
American guys, because that's what they'll do. Guarantee the money, print the money.
Yes.
2-3 years. They've got their return on investment. Off they go. It was so obvious, but anyway, we thwarted it.
Yeah, you guys squashed them. Yes.
Who would have thought Chelsea would be the ones? Chelsea fans would be the ones who did it because because they lay apparently they all just sat down on the Fulham Road and the buses couldn't come through and Petr Cech was coming out shouting at them, please let us through, and fair play to the fans. Play to the fans. Anyway, let's talk about your Hammers 11, Wally. So everyone we have on, they put together an 11 based on the players that they've seen play. So and for you, obviously technically you could go back from the 70s, but you never really saw them play. But anyway, but you can pick whoever you want based on whatever criteria you want, man. And just a bit of fun, and that's what we do, man. It's nice and simple. So in terms of your 11, Wally, who's going to be between the sticks? Who's going to be in goal?
Okay, so like you said, I've restricted this to pretty much the last few years where I've been watching in the mornings, even though I've said I was a fan, since 1970. However, there may be one exception, but anyway.
Good.
So, but in between the sticks, I have Adrian. So, yes, because he's so flamboyant, and listen, that penalty where he was taking pens and he threw off the gloves and just he didn't hesitate or anything. He just went up and put it in, and then the pure joy on his face when when they took that. And also I heard even when he moved to Liverpool and they won some kind of European Cup early in the season. I heard, I don't know if this is true, but he slept with the cup,
Doesn't surprise me.
So so he's just, he may not be the best goalkeeper, but he's just the most charming in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a character, isn't he? In a sport where there's not many characters in the game, he was definitely one. As you said, that iconic moment Part of me wishes he missed that penalty, because he'll have to then try and pick the gloves up, and someone's going to have to help him put them back on, because they guys aren't easy. You know, they get the coaching staff to put them on, so that'd have been quite funny. But yeah, and I like Adrian. Yep. All right, Adrian's in. And to be fair, Adrian, when we always used to do like we do like open training sessions, and so the players could come in, the fans come in, watch the training, and they get all the autographs. He was one of the only ones. There's about 3 or 4 of them. He was one of the last ones who would be still signing autographs when everyone else had buggered off. He was still signing. Anyone with an Adrian shirt would get like something, a boot or a glove, or hopefully not a jock strap. But I don't know why that popped in my head. But everyone would get something, and I love that. Awesome. And he was really, really cool. It was him, Czech Kuyute, and Diafra Sacco, and Alex Song. Actually, Alex Song used to do it quite a bit as well. Right, Adrian, go right. I'm going to go right back.
Right back.
Who's right back?
Well, this is going to be a big surprise, but I'm going with Ryan Fredericks.
I had it all queued up already.
Yeah.
Well, if you hadn't, I tell you what, as you said, it's like it's the same as if Charlie Walsh hadn't put Jordan Hugill in his team. You know, it's like you and Ryan Fredericks. Tell us why you love Ryan Fredericks. I know why you love him, but why do you love him?
All right. Well, I have to admit. Okay, so first of all, when I first was looking at those forums and reading maybe post-match comments by everybody, and one guy would say so and so is great or whatever, and the next guy would be like, no, he was rubbish, he didn't do anything. So it's clear that performances are very, very subjective.
Yeah.
So, and then I saw what Charlie Walsh did with the Jordan Hugill thing.
Yeah.
And so he really bigged up Jordan Hugill and would always talk about the positive aspects, and so I decided, hey, I could probably do that with a player. And there's no other controversial player, in my opinion, than Ryan Fredericks, because most people think he's not, good at defending or whatever. However, he does have all these positive aspects, like he's really fast, super pacey. I actually took a video of him in not this last Newcastle match, but the first one, where there's a point where St. Maxim like grabs the ball and he's just flying past everybody, and he flies past Fredericks, but then Fredericks, starts to close on him and then closes them out so he's not in on goal alone. So just those kind of moments make me all excited. When he's zipping up the right wing, going, and maybe his crosses aren't so good, but anyway. But he has in the past, he has this. He did a 10 out of 10 match in 2019 near the end of the season.
Yeah, and
he scored. I think he had assist. And this who scored unit gave him like 10 out of 10, which was the last time a defender had 10 out of 10 since like 2009. So I mean, how can you not pick Ryan Fredericks with
Mike Drop?
Like yeah,
Mike Drop as a bomber would do, wouldn't it? No, yeah, totally. And you know what? And I think the way Moyes is putting Fredericks now is more of attacking, like a bit what he does in Masuaku. That's I think because you can't teach pace. And the guy has got buckets of it. It's just the end product. And, I mean, when he played the Fulham game, didn't they? They played him sort of more forward right wing. And he was really good. Villa, sorry.
He and Soufal, which honestly, Soufal probably is the better right back, but for a wing back, I think Fredericks is useful. But anyway, between the two of them, they just closed out Grealish, and
they did.
Totally frustrated him. So that was good to see.
Good shout. And it's your 11, Wally. It's your 11. You put who you want on, mate. Okay, so he's going right back. Left. Who's going to go left back then?
Left back. There's no other choice. Aaron Cresswell.
Yeah.
He. When I first started closely following a team, I think that was his first year, and he was Hammer of the Year that year, and. So he's been, pretty consistent ever since, I know. And with this move more into the right defensive, that's been good for him, and he still can get up. And honestly, his crosses and his set pieces are even better. So I think
really missed him.
He's an easy one to choose, I think.
Yeah, I think he's this sort of renaissance he's having now is brilliant. And yeah, you're right. He plays that sort of left of the back three that Moyes has put him in there, and sometimes he does. We go to four at the back. He doesn't really look that much out of out of place.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's and he's our second. Yeah, he's our second biggest, most Premier League games for West Ham or something like that after Mark now.
Wow.
Took over Carlton Cole a couple of games ago. So fair play to the man. Right, Fredericks, Cresswell, centre halves. Who's your first centre back? Centre half.
Okay, the first one on the right would be Winston Reid.
Oh, Reid.
Yeah. So he's also been around since when I first started watching. Very generally consistent, playing really well. Obviously got injured, and that's kind of damaged him. But I have to say, I've only been to one West Ham match, and I flew 700 miles to go to North Carolina to see West Ham play the North Carolina Railhawks, okay, who are this was a preseason match, a few years ago, and they're like a third division team here in the U.S. So, of course, we expected West Ham to just totally dominate. And what happened was right off the bat, Winston Reid let in an own goal, like he put it like an own goal. So, but here's what happened. Like within 5 or 10 minutes, you could see he was just absolutely fuming about that. Yeah. So he took the ball and stormed up the pitch and just scored, and that was just a thing of beauty. So I'll never forget that. So that's why I put him in, and he's obviously a good.
He was. Yeah. Again, fortunately, obviously a bit ravaged by injury, but he's doing well at Brentford now, and hopefully, if he go up, and maybe he might get a move there, and it'd be great, and then hopefully, if that's the case, then next year when there's a full crowd back at London Stadium and Brentford are in the Premier League, and he's there and he gets a proper send off, great, it'd work lovely. Okay, Winnie Reid, who is next, my friend?
The other back would be Angelo Ogbonna.
Oh,
so he also came in around the same time, and so I've seen him. And initially, he wasn't really getting in the team so much, but lately he's really come on strong, obviously, and we've missed him the last few matches.
Yeah.
So he's been great. He's also, played for Italy, so I think he's just a great, solid defender. And I love how he gets in there and heads in goals. Sometimes that's great.
Yeah, definitely. And you're right. We have missed that sort of defensive solidity, and Christ, we probably need it on Saturday now. Obviously, with Dawson out, obviously sent off from the Newcastle game. So, we have missed him. We have missed him loads, haven't we? So, the last few games we've obviously conceded quite a few goals, and although last time, and the Saturday game we conceded 3, but we had, we only had 10 men, so a bit different. But the other games we've conceded a few goals, and he has been playing, and that's not a coincidence in my opinion. It's just funny how he's finding sort of the twilight of his career, a bit like Cresswell, arguably towards the end of their career, which is usually when they start becoming rubbish. They become really good, which is typical West Ham. Exactly. But okay, so there's your back four. Let's go into midfield then. You go through the midfield in whatever order you want to, Wally.
Well, okay. So center midfield, I have Declan Rice, which is, kind of a no-brainer. Considering the time I've been watching closely, he's come on, just brilliant. Young and now he's captains the side unless Noble's on the pitch, which is really extraordinary and really amazing. So I think he's an easy choice, actually.
It is as well when you realise how young he is, and how many games he's played for us. And you look where he stands already in terms of the amount of games. I was going to figure out the other day, but obviously it's 120 odd games he's played for the club, which is on par with some people who we consider to be not legends, but club idols. And he's only 20 or 22, something like that already. And when sort of the captain's armband is available, there's no, we didn't even think twice. The fact that he's young, he was going to be the captain, and and hopefully, hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later. I hope.
Yeah, we
He
could sure
seems
use
to be
him.
running quite a bit already, which is good
Yeah.
considering the injury he had. But he's a fit bloke. He hasn't really had many injuries before, so it all. What's it? 142 games he's played for West Ham.
Wow, that's amazing.
129 starts, 13 sub appearances, and he is 22.
Wow,
22. That's mental. And you
that's
got to think, if he carries on that trajectory,
Mhm.
he's going to be up there with Billy Bonds and people like that, and Bobby
Right.
Moore in terms of
Yeah.
appearances. That's of course if he stays with us. But
Right.
I
Well,
think he will.
I was wondering how the Super League would have affected that. Whether
I think there'd be more chance of him staying with the Super League because, by all accounts, if he was going to the Super League, he would only go there for the money. Now,
right, and
because they wouldn't have let him play for the
England.
internationals. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, okay.
And again, that was one of the things I always saw. For a Kevin De Bruyne or someone like that, or Messi, all you can win would be I don't know, the JP Morgan Trophy, whatever they call it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Whereas he could stay at West Ham and he could have won the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Premier League, Champions League, Europa League, England. He could have won all those things.
Yeah,
or he could have won the JP Morgan. He'd be very, very rich with it, winning the JP Morgan Cup. But so it would have definitely helped our chances of keeping him. But I think he seems very settled, and obviously with Mark leaving soon next season, it does give him like a career roadmap. This is your marker.
Right up.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see. It's all 48 hours. If it's changed back again, it's like someone's gone like Spinal Tap. They've dialed it to 11, and they've dialed it back down to like a 4. So we'll see what happens. Right, Declan Rice, he's in. Who's next then, Wally?
All right, beside him, I've got Mark Noble.
Yeah,
obviously,
no
that's easy. Just amazing how the longevity, how long he's played, and when I started, watching, he was already a veteran, and he had his testimonial match, probably 2 seasons into when I was watching. So it seemed like he was, ready to retire then, but he's still, he's still with the club, still contributing, especially now that Declan is injured. So he's just a legend. He needs to be in there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he is, and there's nothing more you can say about him. And at the moment we're doing this sort of noble era thing where you're looking and you think, how long he's actually been at the club. When you listen, we're not even halfway through yet, and we're up to about 100. I think we actually are halfway through now. But 100. He played with over 200 players at his time at West Ham, not counting obviously next season. When we get this influx of players for our Champions League campaign. Fair play, it's just incredible. 18 seasons next season. Absolutely mental. In today's game as well. It's like to have a player that longevity is phenomenal. Right. Okay, so we've got Rice and Noble in the middle. Who's next then? Well, here we got.
All right, out on the left, I have the one and only Dimitri Payet.
Yes. I had it already. I thought he was going to put him in.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
He was just phenomenal. In fact, when I was watching the season and a half he was here, I don't think I really appreciated how good he really was.
No.
But when you look back and sometimes the club puts up these clips of him putting those free kicks that are just like bending out.
Yeah.
They look like they're going in row Z, but and then suddenly they whip right back into the top corner. It's just crazy, extraordinary.
Yeah. I think only now you appreciate, obviously, because obviously once he left, everyone sort of had a different view on him. But you said now, looking back at it, it was, for me, I think it was almost a privilege to have a player that good play for us.
Right. Yeah.
Very rarely do we have players that play for us when they're in their prime. I like to call us a bookend club. We have players at the beginning and players at the end, but not really in the middle. It's changing a bit now in terms of people like Souček and Soufal and stuff like that. But he was like, we never, in our lifetime, I don't think I'm ever going to see a Ballon d'Or nominee who's currently playing for your club, not like you know us getting Messi at when he's 54 or something like that type of. He's actually playing for us, and he is in the Ballon d'Or, nominations. He is
That's right.
phenomenal player, and he's still doing it. He scored a mental goal the other day for Marseille.
Really? Wow.
Actually, great player. Right, okay, we'll put Payet on the left, so that leaves the right. Who's going to be on the right?
On the right side, I have Michail Antonio playing on the right side.
Antonio.
So he's been at the club a while too, and he's played anywhere from right back to striker. So, but I love watching his pace. Also, he has great pace, and he has got the power to just take on the center backs and so he's fun to watch.
He is. It's great fun.
And if we had a right side of Fredericks and Antonio, the pace would be just amazing. Yeah.
Grease lightning down the side. That's what they'll call themselves, grease lightning. But you're right. Actually, I think I prefer Antonio on the wing personally, because I think also the physical attributes of a fullback. A left back is very more diminished compared to the centre backs. So you'd absolutely roast, if Antonio's up against the equivalent of a Cresswell rather than a Gbona. Makes perfect sense. And who knows? Maybe we'll get that striker in the summer, and he can play more on the right. Who knows?
Maybe.
Fingers crossed. Okay, let's put Michail Antonio, and obviously he'll soon, he'll basically before he finishes at the club, he'll be top Premier League, goal scorer for West Ham. He's third already, I think. Now he's only a few off. Di Canio, half a dozen, I think. I think Mark's only one off now. So he'll probably it'd be nice for Mark to retire, being the top Premier League goal scorer for West Ham, and then obviously Antonio will probably take it over about a week later. But doesn't. Okay, right up front. First, who's the first striker? First forward, then.
Okay, well, I'm taking a little liberty here.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure that in 1975 I did watch the FA Cup final. I'm pretty sure on a little black and white TV.
That'll do.
But I am almost sure, and that would have been probably my only opportunity to actually watch West Ham play, because I was living in Coventry, and obviously didn't go to any matches. So, but I'm almost sure that all by myself, I watched West Ham play Fulham and win. So I'm taking a player off of that squad.
Nice.
He may be a little out of position, but I'm putting Sir Trevor Brooking in.
Yeah, Trev could play. He could play everywhere. Actually, I believe I think we interviewed. It might have been Brian Deere or someone like that. And when or someone he used to play with Trevor, and he played as a number 10, as up front. So we'll put Sir Trevor in. We'll put him in. We have to put him in. I love it. I'm more than happy to put Trevor in. Top, incredible person, incredible player. Obviously, I never got to see him play. I saw him manage, but West Ham a couple of times, but never saw him to play. But just a
I think I saw him play. I can't be 100% sure, but I feel like I must have watched that match
for the purposes of the tape.
Exactly. It was a long time ago, so
it was. Memories chat. Memories
faded a little.
Yeah, you're in Coventry at the time.
Yeah,
all those smoke fumes.
Yes,
from all the factories, and then Detroit, all that smoke. It messes with your memory. And then obviously, living, winters in New Orleans.
Yes, all the Mardi Gras.
All the Mardi Gras, exactly. All the margaritas. It all adds to it, man. And all the Hershey's chocolate as well. That's what it is.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, whatever they put in it. Right, okay, so but who's the last player? Who's the last player in this team then?
Okay, well, I've got a true striker here, and I'm putting in Andy Carroll.
So, do you know what, right? I liked Andy Carroll.
Yeah, me too.
I really liked him.
He's a tall guy, and I'm kind of tall like him. And listen, that bicycle kick that he put in, I mean, it was astounding the way he torqued his whole body. It wasn't just like a simple sort of a Allaire kind of, throwing his leg back. I mean, he torqued his whole body and slammed that into the goal. It was just a thing of beauty. So
of course, and I love the fact he had that in his locker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of players. I mean, still, I would not envisage Harry Kane doing that.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know? It's just you just wouldn't. Where he had it, and I love the Andy Carroll when he was on it. It's a bit like Antonio. When Antonio's on it, he commands 2 defenders, and that means there's always a spare one. There's always someone spare, and obviously it's ironic. When he obviously went back to Newcastle, and then they beat us at London Stadium, and he played 90 minutes almost, and it's like just shows you when the pubs aren't open. But no, he was. I thought he was great, and I didn't realize how many years he played. He was obviously there for a long time because he was injured quite a lot. But he was. And I think you need a target man, particularly in this team, for Brooking to just walk around.
There we go.
Because he's not. Yeah, it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. Clearly, it's part of the plan. And there it is, Wally. There's the team. There's the team.
All
nice. Do a job.
Love that right side. I love
that right side. Yes, crossing them balls in. Cresswell for Andy Carroll, knockdowns for Sir Trevor to bang them in. Very good, Wally. I like it, man. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been great fun.
Pleasure.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure, Wally. And obviously, thank you for all the support and stuff and the sweets. There's
more you want. I can go down the road to the Hershey factory and just
There's a guy at Alton Church, guys, who loves your stuff. He's like, bring it all, like a pallet of Hershey's.
Yeah, a pallet of Hershey's.
Hershey's Kisses just ends up in my driveway. Well, I could be anything worse. Anyway, so thank you, Wally. And obviously, thanks everyone for watching and listening. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And for myself and for Mr. Wally World, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Get those jabs. Come on, you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Much